Good morning. Welcome to another installment of App Developer Conversations. As always, I'm joined by Ian Sefferman of Mobile Dev HQ and Ryan Morrell of PlacePlan. This week, we're not talking about the Seahawks, unfortunately, but we are going to talk about Google Play more broadly, allowing developers to make comments in the App Store. So, for those of you who don't remember, about 4 or 5 months ago, Google Play said the top developers were going to be able to respond to comments in the App Store. And last week they announced that they're rolling it out more broadly and allowing more of the developers over time in order to respond. So, first question for you, Ian, is you hear about this, what's your reaction? What do you think?
So my reaction is that having it's potentially a bad thing, right? Which is that app developers or app consumers now have this ability to talk to a developer publicly, where the review section of Google Play should be reserved for like sort of more subjective. This is why you should download this app, like advice to others. And now, if the developers can respond, my concern is that consumers will be using that as a feedback mechanism to get personal help, making the review section essentially worthless.
Yeah. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, so, I mean, now I've had some time to think about it, and I think this is going to be an epic disaster for everybody, except for you. For you, it's going to be like, I read about this guy this morning who found a 12-pound gold nugget, and like Google kind of just brought you a metal detector and said, search in this 4x4 area, you might find something you like, because this is going to be bad. And I think it sounds great in theory, and people have always complained about not being able to respond to comments. But I think they were always saying, we want to be able to respond to comments privately, not publicly. Because they're just opening, every developer who responds is opening themselves up to further criticism. I think it's going to be really bad.
So I'll reserve some comments to the end because I think that we're a little biased in this. Let's move on to another aspect of this, which is the recent move from Google is that you have to use your Google Plus account in order to make comments, to give feedback, to rate and review an app in the App Store. So is this commenting capability, is this actually like a play on getting more action for Google Plus or getting more data?
Well, I'm sure it's a play for getting more data. It's always a play for getting more data when you're Google. Do I think that the commenting system in particular is like a huge impact on that? I like the idea of making this Google Plus integration, mostly because it takes away the more anonymous qualities of the reviews, and that's a plus in my mind. Like you see quality go up when people can't hide behind a fake name.
Right.
That's.
And then if we think about this from the aspect of Facebook, what they're doing in order to help app developers. Last week we were talking about Facebook app installs and their advertising programs going to mobile developers. So they're helping you try and understand who among your friends is using what app, and then they're also trying to help display apps that you should discover. Google is over here getting more data around comments, reviews, that sort of thing. It seems like these guys are fighting on so many fronts, and now the mobile app space is a big part. How do you think about that?
It's hard to think about it, because a lot of it all revolves around identity, right? So who owns the identity? And now we've kind of got there's kind of 3 people involved on iOS, and there's Google over here. I don't even know, right? It's like, you kind of just sit back and go, well, it's Google here, it's Facebook, Twitter, and the Game Center over here. I don't really know what to do, just because it's just kind of mind-boggling. I don't necessarily understand the play. I think it's ultimately what I'm getting at. I don't know.
Got it. I wonder if it will lead to more activity with Google Plus, just because so many folks who have an Android phone now, by default have a Gmail account and a Google Plus account and a Google Play account. They're all sort of linked. Seems like maybe this will draw more people into the ecosystem, give them more of a reason to be coming back, help strengthen it and attract more attention.
Yeah. Well, and I guess I wonder, you could check, but how does it, like, where does the conversation happen? Does it take place like inside of Google Play? Does it take place Like if I leave a comment and you as a developer respond to me, does that go to my Google Plus page and I respond there? Do I respond?
I think that as I understand it on the face of it, the way that it works is I can respond to your comment, and then you, as the consumer, have the option to actually respond via email to me, and then it can potentially go to email, but I'm not sure that that's the default activity. And then the way that Google Plus files in, it's not really clear that Google Plus is bringing this activity public, but if it is, or if that's an option, there's a whole nother axis for you as the consumer to be thinking about. Like, oh, did I make this comment publicly across all my Google Plus? That's confusing.
Yeah.
So I'll talk a little bit about how we're thinking about this, because we've been hearing from developers over the past several months as this is rolled out, and it's generally like you said, they did drop a really big gold nugget in front of us, because a lot of developers, once they start playing with this, are like, I'm in multiple app stores, and so now I have to treat Google Play differently than the rest of these. That's frustrating and pretty annoying. And so they come to us and they look at one management console with all of their apps across platforms with similar inboxes, and it's a much easier experience. But B, this notion that the App Store ratings and reviews are now going to be hijacked and turned into these feature conversations, and in particular, the squeaky wheel getting the grease in this scenario is really bad, right? The incentive is so negative that you could be a very popular app developer and have a ratings and review section that ends up being just full of 2 or 3 really noisy people, and people are very concerned about that.
Yeah.
And I think the third thing is that there's definitely a notion, especially in public commenting spaces, where vitriol and being sort of loud, it's rewarded, and so you're more likely to have that cycle and that wheel spin faster, right? People are going to be like, well, I'm going to be noisier than that other guy because I'm now going to get some attention from EA.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's concerning. So we'll see, but the other side is I'm really glad to see one of the app stores innovating around ratings and reviews and trying to think about how to get developers closer to the customers. I think that fundamentally is really exciting. That's great. So kudos to Google for trying something there, but I think it's going to be really challenging.
Yeah. I'd rather them not try, because that's how bad I think this could end up being. Great, you tried. Congratulations on screwing it up for a bunch of people. Because it could, my biggest worry would be, some developer just gets skewered because of 1 or 2 people who are just assholes.
So this actually brings up a really interesting question. Maybe it's not the right time for it, but like we immediately we all three sort of agree immediately that it's a bad idea. But 6 months ago, 3 months ago, everybody's like, people are leaving the terrible reviews and developers have no way to comment on it. Like, what would you have done if you were Google? Just been like, no, not at all? Or would you have been like, partner with Apptentive, or?
Yeah, well, I would have maybe done that. But frankly, if I were Google, given how much they screw some of this stuff up, I would have gone, let's just wait till see what Apple does and then we'll copy it. And if Apple hasn't done it yet, there must be a good reason for that. Especially with I don't think it's a secret. They just kind of don't know what they're doing yet. They're kind of learning as they go, and that's perfectly okay. They've created a really thriving and growing ecosystem, but they're probably not the ones to be driving decisions, as far as I'm concerned.
I can see that. I don't think that Apple's going to lead the way on customer communications. I don't think that the DNA of Apple is go embrace your customer base and go talk to them on a regular basis. I don't know that they think that way.
I don't know. I kind of think but we see evidence that suggests that they do that, right? But it's always about protecting the customer, right? So preventing people from changing screenshots, which were leading to people screwing up. That was definitely done to protect the consumers. There's a bunch of stuff now around preventing kids from getting access to in-app purchase, and so people have to turn it off and all this stuff. So I don't know, fanboyish. So it's okay.
Well, so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I don't know that I have a great answer to what I would have done in Google's spot, aside from partnering with us, of course. But I'm excited to see more people realizing that it's important to have conversations with the customers. There's no doubt in my mind that this will raise the importance of doing that, and we'll learn along the way. And hopefully it'll end up being a better place for us as consumers, as opposed to something that we feel like we can't trust anymore because it's just too noisy. So thanks for watching this installment. Be sure to like it and to share it with your friends, and check out the other installments from Ryan and Ian this week. Thanks.
I would probably take that up a level and say my one tip in general would be make sure you identify who your target customer is really quickly. So we, for lack of a better term, fucked around trying to kind of find who that was.